In 1987, People's Princess Lady Diana sat down and shook her bare hands with a HIV-infected person and changed everything we know about this illness. Or did it? Almost 30 years later, it drives me crazy how many people still have the same ridiculous misconceptions. Like, do you know that there is a South African myth that sex with a virgin will cure you of HIV? Like, literally, I have no words. Now, we might even get an actual cure someday, but the misinformation at the moment is insane. So, it's high time to bust 5 of these biggest myths about HIV, like, can you have kids? Or will you even live long enough to see them grow up? I have got all the answers today, starting with some people's bold claim. At number 5, you instantly know when you have HIV. Spoiler alert, no you don't. Shockingly enough, according to CDC, about 1 in 7 people with HIV have no idea they're carrying the virus. The symptoms can easily be ignored. In the first 2 to 4 weeks, some might feel flu-like symptoms like, say, fever, sore throat, fatigue, or maybe even joint pain, very similar to common cold. But here's the biggest mind screw. Some folks feel absolutely nothing. No symptoms, no clue. It can be quite scary if you think about it, that many affected people are living life as usual while unknowingly spreading the virus. That's why testing isn't optional, it is essential. If it remains unchecked, you might develop more critical symptoms like painful swollen lymph nodes, skin rashes with small bumps, diarrhea, opening your body as a ground zero for other infections. Moving on, this next myth makes my blood boil. At number 4, HIV-positive people shouldn't have children. That's because they can pass the virus on to their children. But is there any truth to this? Let's find out. Thanks to modern medicine, having kids while being HIV-positive is not only possible, it's positively safe. As reported by WHO and National Institute of Health, if a pregnant woman takes her HIV medication daily throughout her pregnancy, during labor, and after delivery, the risk of passing the HIV to her baby drops to less than 1%. It all comes down to the fact that if you're careful, go for it. HIV isn't a death sentence for your dreams of parenthood. If you've ever been told otherwise, it's time to toss that myth in the trash where it belongs. And speaking of bad advice, let's talk about one myth that might come into play during the baby making process, when you're not trying to make one. At number 3, couples with HIV don't need condoms. Oh boy, this one is dangerous. People think if we both have HIV, what's the point of using condoms? But there are 2 big reasons why that logic doesn't hold up. Number 1, other sexually transmitted infections. HIV doesn't make you immune to things like gonorrhea, syphilis, or herpes. Skip the condom, and you're opening a door to a whole party of infections. In fact, safe sex isn't about just condoms anymore. But I'll get to that in half a second. The other reason is, it turns out that there are actually different strains of HIV. And if you or your partner have different ones, they could combine and create something called a super infection. And trust me, that's as bad as it sounds. So yes, condoms are still your best friend. And no, it doesn't change just because you both share a HIV diagnosis. But are condoms really enough? And that brings me to myth number 2. Condoms are enough to prevent HIV. In most cases, that's true. But if you already know your partner has the virus, you also need to know about something called PrEP, or pre-exposure prophylaxis. The CDC says this little pill lowers your risk of HIV from sex by up to 99%. But wait, there's more. If your partner is HIV positive, they should be on antiretroviral therapy. This treatment reduces their viral load to an undetectable level, meaning they can't transmit the virus, even during sex, and lead a perfectly healthy, normal life. Thankfully, with every passing year, we're getting more options, like this drug that's being called closest to a HIV cure, or gene mutation and stem cell transplant that might even be a cure. Still, it's disappointing that a shocking majority are not even educated about the most basic thing about HIV: But before I get to that, I want to add a bonus myth here, which according to a survey, 30% of people still believe you can pass it on by kissing. Okay, this should have been gone 30 years ago, but I'll say this one last time. You cannot pass HIV through saliva or sweat. So go ahead, share that dish or kiss with your partner. You're safe. But then, many people take this logic and apply that if saliva is marked safe, then oral sex with HIV-affected person should be a go-to, right? Well, it can be, but there are exceptions. If the HIV-positive person has sores or cuts in their mouth, things can get risky. So, better to play it safe. And finally, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's number one myth. HIV always leads to AIDS. It blows my mind how many times people still think HIV and AIDS are one of the same. Repeat after me. HIV and AIDS are not the same thing. HIV is a virus called human immunodeficiency virus. AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is a condition that happens when HIV is left untreated for years, where your immune system gets weakened and paves way for all kind of infection and illnesses like TB, meningitis, lymphoma, and even cancer. I know most of the media outlets use these two terms as one and the same, and you assume that if you have HIV, you must always get AIDS. That is not true. Thanks to modern medicine, most people with HIV never progress to AIDS. The NIH confirms that if you start treatment early, you can live a near normal life without ever developing AIDS. So, next time someone uses HIV and AIDS interchangeably, hit them with the facts. 2025 people, and we know better now. I hope that you're leaving this video more informed and with many changed opinions. Also, watch this video on the screen where I have spoken about pre-exposure prophylaxis in great detail. Also, if you found this video informative, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, stay safe, folks.